Hello everyone, welcome to this question on the work energy theorem. This is the second method to the previous question that we did using the work energy theorem. What we are going to use now, we are going to use a different method to solve the very same problem using the work done by a non-conservative force. The reason why we are using the work done by non-conservative force is that when we look at our free body diagram, the two forces that contribute to the object's change in its kinetic energy, or the changes in these energies, are the parallel component of gravity and the frictional force. So the parallel component of gravity acts as gravity, which we know that gravity is a conservative force, and frictional force is a non-conservative force. So whenever we have one non-conservative force and the conservative force acting on a system, we can just calculate the work done by the non-conservative force, which in our case is the frictional force, by using that theorem. But before we can use that theorem, we need to find the height here, this height, because what we are given this distance, the distance of the incline. So for us to calculate for us to use the work done by non-conservative force, we need this height, the height from the top to the bottom, the vertical height here. So we need to calculate that first. So that's what we are going to do. The way in which that we are going to calculate the height is by using this formula. H is equal to delta x. This delta x is just this distance here, the distance of the incline, and then sine theta, where theta is this angle here. We substitute in those values where our delta x is 15 meters and our angle is 25 degrees. Clicking onto our calculator, we get that this height, the height here, is going to be 6.34 meters. Now that we have the height, we can use that theorem. It says that the work done by a non-conservative force is equal to the sum of the change in the object's kinetic energy and the change in the object's gravitational potential energy. And then from there, we know that the work done, the non-conservative force that is going to do work on the system is the frictional force. So it's going to be the work done by the frictional force. And the change in kinetic energy is just half mvf squared minus half mvi squared. This is the change in the kinetic energy. And then this will be the change in the gravitational potential energy. And then we substitute our values. Our mass is 6. The final velocity, which is the velocity here at the bottom, we found that it's 5.6. We substitute it in, and the initial velocity, which is the velocity here at the top, was 0. The final height, this object is going down, so that means its final height is going to be here. Its initial height is going to be here. The final height here is going to be 0 because it's like on the surface. So we put in 0, and then the initial height, which is the height at the top, which is the height that we've just calculated here, this height is 6.34. We substitute it, and then we also substitute our gravitational accelerations, and then from there, this will give us 94.08. This will give us 0. This also will give us 0, and this will give us 372.79. Simplifying this will give us that the work done by the frictional force is negative 278.71 joules, which is the same as the previous answer. The only difference is here it gives us as a negative value, which I did specify that friction does negative work on the system. That means it takes the energy of the energy out of the system. That's why there's a change in the kinetic energy and a change in the gravitational potential energy. Because of these frictions, it takes the energy out of the system. And another difference is in the the decimal point. We found 69 from the previous answer, which is when we round this to whole numbers, it will give us a 279, or just if we round it to one decimal place, is going to give us 278.7 for both answers, which is the same. So you can use the previous method, the work energy theorem, or you can just use this method whenever they want us to calculate the work done by frictional force. Beware that we only apply this whenever frictional force is the only non-conservative force that is acting on a system. If we have a multiple of non-conservative forces, don't use this.